If you're trying to remember everything that happened in Dark Matter season 1 before we jump into season 2, I got you covered. Stick around, watch this video. But we need to start with Jason 2 and take it back about 15 years. Now, Jason Denson and Daniela were together. Daniela became pregnant, and Jason was faced with one of those decisions that can change the entire direction of your life. He chooses science and his career. Jason 2 becomes extremely successful. He becomes an award-winning physicist, chief science officer, and co-founder of Velocity Laboratories, along with his friend Leighton Vance. Then he actually builds a device that is designed to isolate a person from the outside world enough for that person to enter quantum superposition, the box. Another one of his friends, Ryan Holder, develops a chemical compound that makes the process possible by suppressing areas of the brain that would normally keep the observer locked into one reality. Amanda Lucas is a psychologist working with Velocity and helping prepare people mentally for the box travel. Velocity begins sending people inside, and they disappear, never to return for months. Blair, one of the lead engineers connected to the project, is one of the people who goes into the box and never returns. Eventually, Jason 2 goes in himself under the guise of trying to find the people that disappeared, but what he really wants to do is find another version of himself and switch lives with that guy. He finds a version of himself that chose Daniela and the family. He becomes a college physics professor, and they have twins, Charlie and Max. Max is born with a heart condition and eventually passes away as a child. They go through that loss together. They raise Charlie. They build a home, and his career takes a back seat. His science career takes a back seat, and they create the life that we see at the beginning of the show. And when Jason 2 goes into that box, he disappears for more than 14 months. Now, we don't get to see everything that Jason 2 experienced during those 13 months, but I have a feeling that that piece of his story will become important moving forward. What we do know is that before Jason 2 disappeared, he was already thinking about Daniela. He actually went to see Daniela from his reality and tried to reconnect with her, but she had moved on. So Jason 2 goes into this machine capable of accessing realities created by different choices, carrying one huge regret with him. And that is the part that makes it all work, because your thoughts have an impact on the reality that you go into. What would my life look like if I had chosen Daniela? And eventually he finds that answer in Jason 1's world. Imagine what Jason 2 sees when he gets there. Daniela with the son he never had, the life he missed out on by choosing his career in science. And Jason 1 isn't some famous science running $1 billion laboratory. He teaches physics at a small college and he looks happy. From Jason 2's perspective, this man sacrificed almost everything Jason 2 spent his whole life chasing, and he decides to switch with him. He begins studying the family, collecting information. He rents a storage unit and fills it with supplies like money from different realities, photographs, information about Jason 1, Daniela and Charlie, and the ampules he needs to operate the box. He does all of that preparation, and then he makes his move. Jason 1 goes out one night to celebrate his friend Ryan winning the Pavia Award, and on his way home, a masked man kidnaps him. That masked man is actually Jason 2. Jason 2 takes Jason 1 to the box, injects him with the compound, and forces him to change clothes and sends him to the world of Jason 2. Then Jason 2 walks into Jason 1's house and pretty much takes his place. And that's where Jason 2 learns something that he clearly did not understand when he came up with this plan. You just can't learn somebody's life from some photographs and following them around, because he wakes up beside Daniela, but he doesn't even know where the coffee is the next morning. He uses the wrong toothbrush. He doesn't know anything about the little routines inside the house. And he has to study family friends because these people know Jason 1 for years, but Jason 2 knows them from a different reality. I mean, Jason 2 even studies videos of the family to learn how Jason 1 behaved, but every little interaction becomes a whole nother test. Jason 2 also starts changing details in Jason's life. He quits Jason's teaching job, he pushes Daniela to start painting again, and he spends money differently for sure. Jason 2 basically looks at Jason 1's life and says, yo, dude, you're doing this wrong. I got this. Every year, the family remembers Max together at a tree containing some of his ashes. Jason 2 misses it because he didn't even know about Max. He didn't even know Charlie was a twin. He pretty much wanted Jason 1's family without all the painful parts. Then Jason 2 almost kills Charlie because he didn't know Charlie had a nut allergy. Daniela is already noticing changes in her husband, and now the differences are starting to become harder to explain. Jason 2 also makes another move and finds the latent Vance from Jason 1's reality and introduces him to the box because Leighton never built velocity with Jason. So Jason 2 gives him something nobody else on Earth can offer, access to alternate realities. Now, Leighton has the money, Jason 2 has the box, and they make a deal. Jason 2 starts training him to travel, and Leighton loves it. Keep him in mind because his story is nowhere near finished by the end of season 1. Meanwhile, Daniela keeps watching Jason 2, and Jason 2 encourages her to return to painting, and he takes one of her unfinished pieces and displays it without her permission. Then she flipped out on him like he went through her phone and posted some lingerie photos to her IG. So she eventually unfollows him. She follows him and discovers the storage unit and finds one of the ampules. She takes it to Ryan, and that turns out to be a major problem for Jason too. Ryan analyzes the drug and realizes the chemistry connects back to his own work, so he confronts Jason too. Now, mind you, both of them think that they're still dealing with Jason 1. They have no idea about the box, the superposition, or any of the alternate realities or anything. They think they're dealing with Jason 1. So Jason 2 decides to show Ryan the truth. He takes him into the box and opens the door to an incredible advanced version of Chicago. Ryan is amazed, but Jason 2 gets back to the box and leaves him there stranded in another reality with no understanding of how to get home. Jason 2 returns to Daniela's world and has the box physically sealed behind concrete. So Jason 1 is gone, Ryan is gone, the box is blocked, except now the police are looking for Ryan. Now, Detective Mason comes asking questions because Jason 2 was the last person seen with him. Now, Daniela knows Jason 2 is lying about something, so she confronts him about the ampules. Jason gives her a part of the truth about the drug and hides everything involving the box and the alternate realities. So he starts realizing that Ryan's disappearance is creating too much heat. So Jason 2 tears open the box and goes traveling again into a different reality and finds another Ryan Holder. This Ryan never became a famous scientist that Daniela knows. He's a mechanic. And Jason 2 gets him drunk, brings him through the box, and drops him into Jason 1's reality as a replacement for the Ryan that he stranded. For a super intelligent scientist, Jason 2 be doing some dumb shit. Jason 2 has now replaced Jason with another Jason and replaced Ryan with another Ryan. Bro is pretty much out here playing goldfish with alternate versions of people. Daniela eventually visits the new Ryan and he starts going on about being a mechanic, and he knows Daniela because she brings her Honda in for brake work. And she's looking at dude like, brake work? So she shows him a picture of Jason, and Ryan identifies Jason as the stranger who was buying him drinks before everything went blank. Now Daniela realizes that something is seriously wrong, so she returns to the storage unit and finds more evidence. Photographs, money from different worlds, ampules, and the mechanic uniform that belonged to Ryan. Now, around the same time all of that was happening, Jason 2 has an even bigger problem at home. Other Jasons start appearing. One attacks him outside the house, so he had to get rid of him, and one of them follows Charlie through the University of Chicago, and he has to fight him in the bathroom and get rid of him too. Long story short, Daniela ends up escaping Jason 2 by knocking him down into the basement stairs, and then she left with Charlie. So the jig is up, and Jason's 2's stolen life is effectively over. Then one of the other Jasons finds him. This Jason has been through his own version of hell inside the box. His Amanda died during their journey. He captures Jason 2, beats him, and forces Jason 2 to finally sit with what he created, because Jason 2 did not only destroy Jason's 1's life, every Jason who branched off from Jason 1 after being kidnapped has memories of having his wife and child stolen as well. Some of them remember losing Amanda. Some were injured. Some of them became real violent because they watched people die and they had to do other things. And every one of them exists because Jason 2 made that first decision to take another man's life. Eventually, Blair gets involved and Jason 2 gets free. Then Jason 2 finally makes the most important decision of the entire season 1 story. He helps Jason 1. He reaches the house where Jason 1, Daniela, and Charlie are hiding as the other Jasons are closing in. One of the other Jasons is about to take out Jason 1, and Jason 2 actually intervenes and saves his life. He returns the wedding ring, and he gives the family a vehicle containing ampules, some supplies, so that they can escape through the box. So the family leaves. Jason 2 apologizes in the best way he can, and he stays in Jason 1's reality that he actually destroyed. Now, this story isn't over yet. Let's rewind back to Jason 1. So Jason 1 wakes up in a world where everybody knows him, but he knows almost nobody. A group of scientists are celebrating his return. Amanda hugs him. Layton tells him that he's the chief science officer and co-founder of Velocity and that he's been gone for 14 months. Jason 1 has absolutely no idea what they're talking about, so he escapes Velocity and goes looking for the life that he remembers. His house is different. Daniela's gone. Charlie doesn't exist. And Amanda lives where he expects his family to be, in that house with him. Even his own achievements are different. This Jason won the prizes that built the technology Jason 1 never pursued. Jason 1 goes to the hospital because he genuinely believes that something may have happened to his brain. His scans are normal. The doctor does find a strange psychoactive chemical in his system, and Jason starts looking for Daniela under her maiden name. Now, he finds her, but this Daniela became the successful artist the Daniela in Jason 1's world once dreamed of becoming. Funny enough, she's actually holding an art exposition about choices and roads not taken. She knows Jason and was once in love with him. He was one of the roads not taken. Jason 1 eventually realizes where their history split. Daniela became pregnant and Jason 2 chose his career. Jason 1 chose her, and that decision created the two lives that we have been watching. Now, if you're still here and you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like, hype this video, share this video to somebody that watches the show. Thank you very much in advance. Now, Jason 1 explains to this Daniela and Jason 2's reality. He tells her that somewhere out there, she's his wife and they have a son, so the two connect. Then Dawn from Velocity just shows up and pops Daniela and deletes her pretty much. Jason is then taken back to Velocity and he starts learning what Jason 2 actually built. Now, the Ryan from Jason 2's world explains that Jason 2 asked him to develop a compound capable of suppressing areas of the brain. Velocity has been experimenting with the box and people have entered and vanished. Amanda starts realizing that the Jason sitting in front of her may really be another version of the man she knew and was in love with as well. She also realizes that Velocity has crossed lines that she can no longer live with by deleting Daniela of this world. So she helps Jason escape. Now, Ryan from this reality gets deleted. Dawn and Layton start chasing Jason 1 and Amanda towards the box and they get inside. The door slams shut and cuts off several of Dawn's fingers. Then they inject themselves, and when the drug takes effect, The inside of the box becomes an endless corridor filled with doors. So Jason 1 and Amanda have to learn how the box actually works. No GPS, the traveler is the navigation. The corridor is the human mind trying to make sense of the state it was never designed to perceive. Every door represents access to another possible reality, and the world waiting behind that door is influenced by the consciousness of the person opening it. Jason 1 and Amanda learned this the hard way. They end up in a frozen Chicago. Jason 1 and Amanda eventually locate Blair, and this is the Blair from Jason 2 and Amanda's reality who disappeared in the box. She's been trapped in a world overrun by enormous flying hornets or something like that. She watched another version of herself get deleted, and she has some ampules, but she refuses to use them because after experiencing what the box can do, she would rather survive this nightmare world until she feels mentally ready to enter into that corridor again. So Blair realizes something and pretty much puts Amanda up on game and tells her that she has no home to go to anymore. She can't return to Velocity, and when she helps Jason 1 get home, what's next? She's pretty much becoming worldless. So Jason 1 and Amanda continue traveling, and they reach this plague-ravaged version of Chicago where Charlie is gone and Daniela is actually dying. In my mind, Jason asked the box for his family and carried the fear of losing them into that request, so the box gave him a world where that fear became a reality. So Amanda ends up deciding that they need to stop running for a minute. She chooses a world based on ideas instead of specific people. She focuses on empathy, progress, clean technology, and a society that seems to have solved many of the world's problems that they know. They arrive in this advanced version of Chicago, and this is the same world where Jason 2 had abandoned Ryan from Jason 1's reality. I thought that was very interesting because Jason 2 and Amanda were actually a couple in Jason 2's reality, and they both ended up manifesting this version of Chicago. I thought that was real dope. Now, Amanda researches the Amanda from this advanced Chicago reality, and that Amanda disappeared 2 years earlier. So she has enough matching information to obtain identification and create a new life there. So Amanda makes her choice and stays. She also realizes that having two people inside the box may be interfering with the ability to target the world that Jason wants because both minds can affect the destination. Jason 1 secretly leaves 2 ampules in her bag. Then Jason 1 enters the box alone, and the box gives him one of the hardest tests of the entire season, a reality where his son Max actually survived. Now, he could have chosen to stay in that reality where that pain never happened, but he leaves because it's still not his life. Jason uses his final ampule and he focuses on the earliest memories of Daniela and the life that they built together. He opens the door and he sees concrete surrounding the box. And that's one of the first clues that he finally made it back home because Jason 2 had sealed the box. So Jason 1 gets out of the box and goes to the village tap where Matt recognizes him. He finally made it. Jason goes home and looks through the window. Daniela's there, Charlie is there, but Jason 2 is there inside of the house as well. So Jason goes to buy a gun and can't because he doesn't have the required firearm identification. So he buys a knife and some pepper spray instead. Now, you mean to tell me this man couldn't get a gun in Chicago? This has got to be an alternate reality. Then another Jason walks into the same store because every choice Jason made after being kidnapped creates a branch too. So now there are infinite versions of Jasons coming out of the woodworks. They all came from the same Jason who was kidnapped. They all remember Daniela. They all remember Charlie. They all believe Jason 2 stole their life, and several of them successfully found their way home. So now this reality has Jason 2 and an unknown number of Jason 1 variants walking around Chicago. So Jason 1 meets one of them at the village tap, and this Jason lost his Amanda during the journey, and he has been changed by what happened to him, and he wants Jason 2 eliminated. He also makes it clear that he wants Daniela and Charlie back. So Jason 1 reaches a different decision. He needs Daniela to know the truth. So he gets himself arrested by openly smoking a cigar inside of a restaurant. And Daniela comes to the police station and Jason tells her everything. Jason 1 tells her everything. The box, Jason 2, the other realities, the other Jasons. Now, obviously, that sounds insane. So Jason 1 gives her a test to call the man living in their house and mention the vacation that they had taken to the Florida Keys. This trip never happened. And Jason 2 plays along because he doesn't know that whole memory is fake. So there was the proof that Daniela needed. So Daniela and Jason agree to meet at the Bean, and they have a safe word, Jupiter. So Daniela returns home and tricks Jason 2 into going towards the basement and knocks him down the stairs. Then she grabs Charlie and they run, but another Jason finds Daniela and Charlie. And for a moment, she thinks it's Jason 1 from the police station, but he doesn't know the safe word. Eventually, they reach the Bean. Jason 1 says one word, Jupiter. And for the first time since the opening episode of season 1, Jason 1, Daniela, and Charlie are together again. So they hide at a vacation spot belonging to one of Charlie's friends. Then Jason 1 discovered something terrifying online. The other Jasons have found each other, and hundreds of them are communicating on a message board. Some have been violent. Some of them have just want their families back. And every one of these men has the same memory of loving the same woman, raising the same child up until their experience actually branched off from the kidnapping. So these Jasons are legitimately Jason number 1, but they're Jason number 1.1, Jason number 1.2, Jason number 1.3, and so on and so forth. They actually have all of the same memories that Jason 1 has up until the point he was kidnapped. I wanted to reiterate that because that is the part that confused a lot of people. So Daniela actually enters the conversation herself, and she makes it very clear that she is not a prize, and she chooses Jason 1. But that doesn't stop the violent Jasons. They find the vacation house, and Jason attempts to force Jason 1 to give up his clothes and the safe word so he could take his place. And it's just like what Jason 2 did at the beginning. But then Jason 2 arrives and saves him. Jason 2 gives the family some supplies that they need to get moving and head for the box and find a different reality. Now, when they get to the box, there are even more Jasons waiting. Some are angry, some are heartbroken, and some finally understand that Daniela made her decision. So they allow the family through. Jason, Daniela, and Charlie enter the box together. But the problem now is that every Jason out there thinks like Jason. So if Jason chooses their destination, another version of him could potentially make the same choice. So Jason gives that decision to Charlie. Charlie will choose the world. Daniela and Jason do not know where he's going to pick, and the other Jasons wouldn't know that either. So Charlie opens the door, and the Desson family steps into another reality, and that's where season 1 leaves them. And at the end of season 1, we also get a final look at some of the other loose ends. You have Leighton from Jason 1's world is still traveling through realities and appears to be having the time of his life doing it. You have Blair, who spent months hiding in the world overrun by those creatures. She finally prepares to enter the box again. Then Jason 2 remains behind in the original Desson reality along with the surviving Jason variants. And the biggest loose end brings us back to that advanced world where Ryan and Amanda are. Ryan has been working with chemistry and remembers something important. Jason secretly left 2 ampules to Amanda in her bag. Ryan eventually finds Amanda and approaches her. Amanda asks if she knows him. Ryan says no, but tells her that he's been looking for her. So season 1 ends with the Desson family somewhere in the multiverse. Jason 2 and an army of Jason 1 variants left behind in Jason 1's Chicago, Blair returning into the corridor, Leighton bouncing around through realities, and Ryan and Amanda are together in one of the most advanced worlds that we have seen. And there's one more thing that makes season 2 especially interesting is that season 1 takes us through the main story of Blake Crouch's original novel. Now, we've reached the end of that book. So from here forward, we are all entering new territory. And with Ryan, Amanda, Leighton, Blair, Jason 2, and all the surviving variants of Jason 1, the Destin family still is out there somewhere in the multiverse, and there are a whole lot of doors left to be opened. So I hope that this video helped you get to, somewhere where you could feel comfortable knowing what happened or remembering what happened in season 1 before we move to season 2. Make sure you subscribe to this channel for the Dark Matter season 2 coverage. And if you like this video, go ahead and do all that dope YouTube stuff and share this to somebody that watches the show. If you're not subscribed yet, hopefully this will be the video to make you do it. That's all for my video this evening. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.